Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Women's Wednesday. I am beyond excited about our next guest. She and her family are known for their epic travels, and her photography is outstanding. I'm hoping maybe she'll give me some pointers at some point tonight. Please welcome Caroline Van Stralen. Oh my gosh, it's been a day. Hi, Caroline. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. So I know we're dealing with a little bit of a delay, but I appreciate you making time for me tonight, and I just lost you. Bear with us, everyone. So Caroline is actually sitting in a shop right now getting this done. Hi, you're back.
Hi.
So
Hopefully it stays working.
you are fine. So I told her, just mentioned that you're sitting currently in a shop right now doing this remote inside a building with really bad Wi-Fi, but that's okay. To start off, for those who may not know you, hopefully there's not very many, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Caroline Van Stralen. I am a member of what's known as the Epic Family Road Trip on Instagram and YouTube. We are a family of 5 that has been living on the road and traveling full time for 7 years now. And that my family consists of myself and then my 2 younger brothers, Peter, who is 19, and Daniel, who is 17, and then my parents, Peter and Carol, and then our 2-year-old German short-haired pointer, Lando.
That's awesome. So how did you and your family get started in overlanding?
So this we had always dreamed of doing something like this. Or well, we could never have imagined this maybe specifically, but we wanted to do something adventurous as a family. My dad owned a business and worked really hard for the last over 20 years to build this business. And then after it sold, he was able to have the freedom and the time to be able to spend more time as a family. And for him, he had this goal that he wanted to be able to travel for 3 months in a motorhome with our family. And that's kind of the extent of what our goal looked like, that 3 months in the motorhome. And
Right.
then we started doing that. And then we got to, I think it was Moab, Utah, after going through all these different states and provinces. And then we were kind of like, okay, so we've kind of reached the 3 months now. Do you guys want to go back home or do you want to keep going? And we all just fell in love with this lifestyle already. So we wanted to keep going. And since, my brothers and I did online school and we had the freedom to work remotely and everything, we continued on. And then when we got into Alaska eventually in 2016, I believe in the summer of 2016, we met this guy who had one of those, I think it was a man truck, those really big off-roading trucks. And
Right. Okay.
he introduced us to one of those, he introduced us to the term overlanding. We had been living on the road and traveling for a few months, but we didn't necessarily know the term overlanding. And so he told us about Overland Expo, the East one in Asheville, North Carolina at the time. And he said, you should go there to learn more about it and stuff. And we were really intrigued. So we went out there. And then actually when we were visiting friends in Tulsa, we found out about Exploration Outfitters. So we went down there and that's where we retrofitted our Jeep. Then we went to the Overland Expo and we got to learn all about it. And then we've been doing it ever since full time. So.
That's awesome. So Mike Hayden is saying hi. He does the show on Tuesdays with Lee, who is also commenting, hello, you met him earlier today. So at some point we're going to have to talk. We might have to talk a little bit of smack about Lee because they give me a lot of grief. Skip is saying hi. He and his wife are watching, hi. And then my husband is also watching. So you guys said that, you've been doing this for 3 months, but after the 3 months it was over and you guys decided to do it full time. Oh, apparently Mike was there too. I missed that Mike was there. So I apologize, Mike. Goodness. After the expos, when you guys decided, okay, yes, this is what we want to do, you guys went down to Exploration Outfitters. was that like, okay, this is it, this is going to be the rest of our life, or was there just something else that solidified it for you?
Well, I don't know. You can never, that part of this lifestyle is that you're kind of just going with the flow, and things change so often that it's hard to make those kind of concrete plans. But we knew we wanted to be able to continue doing this in some capacity because we love the freedom of the lifestyle. And so I don't know. I don't think we did think of a specific amount of time we wanted to be able to do it, but we just hope to be able to do it for as long as we can. But after we retrofitted our original Jeep, that was our original one Jeep that we had. So we all lived and traveled in the one Jeep at the time. And a few months after that, we shipped it to New Zealand for 6 months. And that was the first kind of big taste of overlanding that we had. Because before that, we were kind of more in campgrounds and with the motorhome and stuff, which is one experience that was really awesome for us, especially when we were younger and getting used to it. But this was like a huge step, really kind of pushing us right into real overlanding and like living out of the tents and, you know, being more off the grid, which was amazing. And every time we did it, like we got more off the grid or we got to see these new places, you just want to keep going.
Right.
So, yeah.
So how old were you guys when you started?
I was 15, so Peter would have been like 13 and Daniel was 11 or 10.
Okay, so I have a 13-year-old son and a soon-to-be 10-year-old daughter who thinks she's about 16. What was it like being all crammed in the Jeep together? Was it hard or no?
We were pretty used to being on long road trips because we had traveled before to different conferences and stuff for my dad's work, and we loved doing that. So we were used to sitting in the car, but we did, you know, stop at different cool spots or go for hikes as often as we could. And then we also understood that sometimes we do have to do those bigger pushes to be able to get somewhere. But then once we're there, we would spend more time in the spot and not be, you know, moving around. So it's kind of, we understood that like sometimes you have to just push through a long drive and it's fine because you know you're going to get somewhere cool. But yeah, we were fine about in the back of the Jeep.
Okay, so my kids are about it. As long as they have electronics, they're happy. Without them, it's time to get out of the car after a few hours. So one thing that I always ask is favorite camp food, which sometimes it starts like this crazy conversation later. But it's always fun to see who does what when they camp. I've had some people tell me they do like gourmet dinners. Lee does a little bit of fancy stuff too. So what's your guys' typical go-to?
Curry, like Thai curry or Indian curry.
Okay.
We do that basically every week and we all love it. And it's pretty simple too, so that's nice.
Okay, very nice. Yeah. So Jennifer saying it always leads to a poop conversation. When I ask that question, it does tend to, but we're not going to do that tonight. So camping drink of choice.
I mean, for me, I just water. Really cool.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's typically mine. Well, like all the guys are drinking beer, some whiskey or something. So I'm the sane one of the group that can blackmail them with the stuff later. So it's great. Vanessa saying all the alcohol. There, you're gonna get some animated comments here in a little bit, I'm sure. Your must-have piece of gear.
Oh, sorry, it kind of broke out there a little bit.
You're okay. Your must-have piece of gear that you never go without.
Ooh. For camping or
camping, overlanding, whichever.
Okay. I mean, for me, sorry, it's kind of loading. Am I still there for you?
You're still there.
Okay. For me personally, it would probably be my camera. Right. It's not really an overlanding piece, but I mean, I have a bushcraft knife that I always have with me.
There you go.
multi-purpose,
Right.
pretty good thing to have.
So that's impressive. Nessa saying, am I trying to say that he has issues with the chat? Yes, he starts some antics, so we're just going to leave that one alone. So when you guys are traveling, what kind of navigation system do you guys use? Do you use Gaia? Do you use Google Maps?
Yeah, we use Gaia, especially when we're off the grid more or on things like BLM lands and stuff like that, trying to get kind of more off the grid. And for trails and stuff. Like we were on the Colorado BDR and stuff, so obviously that sort of thing you want to have Gaia. And then yeah, we use Apple, or like the normal Apple Maps when we're just on roads and stuff. But yeah.
So when you're getting from destination to destination, it's just your standard Apple Map. But once you get to your location, okay. Preferred method of recovery: winch or traction boards?
Recovery. Yeah. We have used like Max Tracks more, but there are times where a winch is is the only thing that's going to get us out of the situation. So I think if I had to have one, it'd probably be the winch. But I feel like if you didn't have anything to winch to, you would want the traction boards. I'll go with winch though, because that has gotten us out of some really, really sticky situations.
Okay. So my next question based off of that is, what's the most difficult terrain you've encountered?
So one of the most difficult was when we got stuck in the backcountry of British Columbia in the mountains in the winter. We we crossed over this avalanche that was blocking the trail. It was like a big snow avalanche that had happened more during the winter. This was kind of leading into spring. So down and like out of the mountains, it was starting to warm up a bit. But then the higher you get into the mountains, it's still snowing. So we didn't really think about how deep the snow would be after that. So once we got up to this avalanche, my brothers were all like, yeah, we have to cross over it. We've come this far. We still have to keep going. So we got out the Max Tracks and everything, and we got over this avalanche, which felt, it was fun. We kind of accomplished something that looked cool. And then we got to the next part of the trail. We were like, okay, I guess now we have to kind of keep going.
Right.
And there's this road after that leads to this small town that in the summer takes about a half an hour drive to get to. But not the case in the winter. And there was a lot of snow, and we ended up getting stuck for 3 days and 3 nights in the backcountry, having to winch along through the snow, getting, stuck. Like every night that we were stuck there, we couldn't move beyond that point, and we were just hoping that the next day would melt a little bit or it'd rain. So yeah, that was in grizzly country, really cold. So yeah, that was an intense time.
I can't even imagine being stuck in my vehicle in a spot where you weren't planning to camp for 3 days and barely able to move along. That I'm impressed. No, I wouldn't be doing it. So my husband's wanting to know, what do you guys use for navigation internationally? Is it you guys still use Gaia?
So the only place that we went internationally so far is with the Jeep is New Zealand. And because we spent 6 months there kind of going all around both islands. We did spend a month in Australia and then 2 weeks in Bali during that same time overseas, but that was before the Jeep got to New Zealand. But while we were there, that was right after we retrofitted the Jeep and shipped it, and we were kind of still newer to overlanding. So we were still learning about all the navigation options that there are. So we were just using standard maps again. But when we went with X Overland in Baja and stuff, we were using Garmin Overlander, Onyx, and another one. But yeah, a little more high quality kind of satellite maps that get you tracks more off the grid.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, I want to come back to the X Overland experience here in a little bit. What is the scariest situation you've been in besides the avalanche?
One that I can think of recently, or was something that happened kind of recently when we were on the Colorado BDR. it was another one of those things where, actually, I don't want to blame my brothers, because we were all kind of in this, wanted to keep going down the trail, but they were kind of the ones pushing to keep going. And we got to the part where I think it's about to go up Hurricane Pass on the Colorado BDR, and it's this really big mountain pass. It goes up to, I believe, almost 14,000 feet. And it's just, it's really beautiful in the daytime, but they wanted to keep going to try and find a camp on the other side as the sun was setting. And we kind of should have probably just stopped where we were and waited until the next day. But we ended up pushing on, and then the sun set below the mountains, and it was, we were worried a snowstorm could either come in, and plus it was just dark and with multiple 1,000-foot drops on either side. And the boys were on their adventure bikes, which was really nerve-wracking for my parents, obviously, because they're way ahead. They're just little blips on the trail. Like, you just see their little lights in the darkness way down the mountain, and you hope they're okay. And then, and you're doing like multiple point turns to get through some of these switchbacks and stuff. And that was just like, you're tense, super tense and nervous the whole time. And just, but those sort of things, though, they're scary in the moment, but they're always the things that you look back on. Like, and they're really incredible memories, but you also learn so much from them, and they end up being really great experiences once you survive them.
Right. But we can still blame your brothers for getting you guys into those situations. I mean, we've all done it. So what type of security precautions do you guys have in place when you are out in the more remote areas?
So our main one is literally just bear spray, I guess. It's one of our tools that we have for, for protection. But I don't know, we kind of, especially if we're going through towns and stuff like that, we try not to stop, especially if we're in somewhere like Baja or something. We try not to go through a town before we go to sleep anywhere near there. Like, we don't want to have passed through a town where everyone just saw our vehicles, whatever, and then we kind of pull off within sight into a place that we're going to camp for the night. We kind of like to push past it a bit or stop before we see a town on the map. And then we kind of just, we make ourselves a little less visible or known to other people. And then, we just have our camp set up so that especially if we're a little bit wary or a little worried about something happening, if it's a little more of a sketchy area or something, we kind of set up the camp that we could pick up and move quickly if we needed to.
Okay.
Just some stuff like that. And, being situationally aware as well.
Have you guys encountered any bears on any of your adventures where you've had to use bear spray?
No. We actually, when we were camping in Montana, though, we just gotten some new bear sprays, and we were testing them out for the video, like just using the tester one. And then you can hear in the video, a grizzly bear in the wilderness that actually like growled or whatever it was a few meters away. There was an actual grizzly bear there. So at least we had the tools if we needed to. But yeah, luckily we haven't had to use that.
Okay, so Bill is asking something. So Clay threw you under the bus on the Baja series, saying that you were fluent in Spanish. So hopefully you can translate that.
No. They were very generous with my with the compliment of me being super good at Spanish, but the weird thing is I get better at it the more I'm around people that are speaking it. And like, if it's kind of necessary that I be able to communicate with people because that's the only option, then for some reason it comes back to me more. But I don't know. I'm learning it though, and I want to get better. So
that's awesome. So Bill, you're going to have to comment with your translation there, because neither one of us knew what you were saying. That's awesome. Your biggest challenge that you've encountered being a woman in this community?
I get this question quite often, and it's hard for me to answer because I've never really looked at it in that way, like separately as a female. I don't know. I think it's because the people that I've had the opportunity to work with and be around in this space of overlanding have been so, like, they don't care who you are or what you look like or whether you're a woman or a man or anything like that. They're just like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's more just about mindset. So, you know, no matter what you are, it's more about your mindset towards your willingness to learn and push yourself, and then to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And you know, if you have that mindset in place of like not limiting yourself based on, you know, maybe what stereotypes are or whatever, then you're capable of anything. And it's, you know, people like working with people like Rochelle and Clay, for instance, they don't care what you look like or who you are. They are just looking at your willingness to push yourself and to learn. And they are so passionate about, and so many of the people that I've met are just so eager and passionate about teaching you whatever you're interested in learning so that you can apply that to your life and it can benefit you in some way, or your life in overlanding, that all they're looking for is you being willing to try something new. And you know, things like, for me, for instance, in Baja, they knew that one of my weaknesses was that I don't speak up for myself when there's something that I want to try. So I just kind of sit in the background and just let other people do it. Not that I don't want to do it. It's just I was a little, you know, shy or whatever. So they would notice that, and they wouldn't just say, okay, Caroline, you have to come try this. They would wait until I kind of got past that mindset and said, hey, I want to learn how to do this. Then they would take the steps after that to teach me how to do something like, you know, changing a tire or in the hot sun, or, you know, driving in sand, like off road. But it's more that willingness to learn. So I haven't noticed or faced any particular challenges as a female, which I'm thankful for.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah. So Bill posted his translation. It said, "Greetings, everyone. Hope you're having a great night." Hi, Bill. We're glad that you're on here.
Thank you.
Jennifer says she absolutely loves the overlanding community, which I agree. There is a ton of people out there that are willing to teach you and help you and guide you on whatever path you're wanting. Clay and Rochelle, I got to meet them back in February last year at the Moore Expo, and they were fantastic. Cool. They walked around my Forerunner with me about what I've done, some suggestions on improving things, completely down to earth. And Rochelle was a blast to have on the show a few weeks ago. So what's some advice that you'd give to anyone thinking or wanting to start overlanding?
Yeah, just be willing to take risks and push past your comfort zone. Like, just get out of your comfort zone as much as you possibly can, because that is the only time that you're going to learn and grow. And, you know, don't set too rigid of expectations about too many things, because that kind of limits your ability to find solutions and opportunities for growth. So just, you know, and that's something I'm still working on. If you see the Baja series and with X Overland, you'll see the many challenges that I face, both mental and physical, that I had to push through, that are just things that you're kind of exposed to when you're in that kind of more vulnerable situation while you're overlanding. But that's where you just experience the most growth. So yeah, and there's such amazing experiences that you come to whenever you're looking for those opportunities by getting out of your comfort zone.
No, I love it. So what was it like teaming up with Clay and Rochelle for the Baja Adventure series?
Oh, that was a dream. That was really incredible, because we've been watching them for years, and we've always looked up to them for both the adventures and expeditions that they've done, but also their film style. Like, as a videographer and editor, I just really look up to Clay and his work that he's done. So it was such an amazing experience. And we had been working with them for a few months before we went to Baja, doing an internship with them, editing. So we just had such an incredible bond with them. They're like family to us now, the whole X Overland team. And yeah, we're so thankful for that experience, because they're just such amazing people. And before going to Baja, we also got to, doing the training and prep for Baja was also just such an amazing part of our experience. We got to do the medical training, which I'm really, really interested in. And then we got to learn a lot more about navigation and the vehicles and stuff, because we're also pretty new to Toyota. Before we went to X Overland, we were, we just had our Jeep. So that's kind of what we always knew. But yeah, it was really cool getting to learn more about their vehicles and preparing for the.
No, that's awesome. You're frozen for just a moment, so we're going to wait for you to come back. If anyone has any questions for Caroline, please feel free to put them up in the comments while we're waiting for her to get reconnected. You just disappeared and went completely back in.
Oh.
Are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear
perfect. So, how did you get into photography and videography?
So from a young age, I always loved the idea of doing something in movie making. I didn't know exactly what that would look like, but I just loved the idea of creating films and telling stories. And so I would, whenever I found a camera, I was always documenting just random things for fun. But I noticed from a young age the different styles that different directors had in their movies, and then which ones I liked more. And I would be watching a movie and be noticing the different styles of color grading that they do, and the different types of transitions and cuts that they do and angles that they do when they're filming. And that stuff always interested me for so long, but I never really knew how I would get into it. I imagined going to film school, but that was just because that was the automatic thing that I thought you had to do to be able to get into it. But I started doing photography for fun, and then doing it for friends and stuff like that. And then I would start making little edits of videos on my Instagram and stuff like that, just for fun. But then eventually it grew, and then we started, traveling and living on the road. And then eventually we started our YouTube channel, which was just an amazing outlet for being able to upload the videos. But then it turned into what it is now, which is crazy. And then getting to work with X Overland, editing their series, I just never would have, I don't know. It's just such an incredible thing. And so, yeah, I look forward to seeing where I go with it, because I love so many different aspects of filmmaking and storytelling, both even written. I love writing. And so, yeah, I just love it all. Just storytelling and creativity in general, I just love.
That's fantastic. So my husband's asking really quickly, do you plan to continue to overland with your family or eventually break out onto your own?
Yeah, I love overlanding with my family right now. We plan to do it until, it's kind of hard to say even where we're going to be in the next year, but yeah, for the foreseeable future, I definitely plan to continue traveling with them. And yeah.
I love that your family's so closely knit and you guys enjoy still doing this even after all these years together. That's my goal eventually for mine. Even though my husband wants to do van life and I'm not there yet, I like my 4Runner, so I'll stay with that. So with your photography and your videography, what type of equipment do you use?
So I use a Canon 1DX Mark II for my photography and different kind of B-roll shots and other shots for our videos. And it's kind of funny to talk about it now in a more cinematography style for our YouTube channel, because before we would just use kind of whatever camera we had, even our phones and whatever, which that works. And we do that now. But yeah, I mainly use the Canon. And then we actually purchased X Overland's old Sony FS5, which is a real film camera. So we've really been loving that. We filmed with that in Baja, so we got to kind of learn it, and it's just taken it a step further with the quality and audio quality as well. So we use that and GoPros, and then our DJI drone, which gets really cool perspectives of the places we're in. And yeah.
So I love that you said drone, because Bill's asked, do you use the drone for any sort of filming? Midland is saying hi. Hi, everyone from Midland.
Hi.
David's asking, did your YouTube channels or videos happen by accident? Was New Zealand the beginning?
So we knew about YouTube for a little bit before we started it, and we just kind of never really took that leap into doing it. But we did film for over a year or so before starting our YouTube channel, and kind of keeping in mind that we would want to start one eventually. And then at the end of our time in New Zealand, kind of right before we shipped the Jeep back, we just started it. We were like, okay, we're just going to start it, and just did it in 2017, I think.
Okay. My husband's wanting to know, what's your favorite lens to use on your camera?
Ooh, I love the, I'm forgetting it right now, but it's like, it's no, it's like, it's a really nice zoom one. I think it's a 70 to 200 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice for a variety of shots. It's pretty, yeah, I love that one. I think it's Marco Hernandez from Overland X called it like the butter lens, because it's like, it's just so smooth and gets such really nice depth of field and everything. So that one's nice. There's another one I can't think of, but that one's more versatile, and that's the one I use all the time, but I can't think of it right now. I think it's the 24 to 105.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're just putting you on all the spot for all the technical questions right now. So this is awesome. So Phil's asking, which DJI drone do you guys use?
Currently, we have the DJI Mavic Mini. We have had the Mavic Pros before, but we've lost and crashed them too many times that it was starting to become a really sad day every time that happened, obviously. And it wasn't necessarily just my flying. It was also just random occurrences. Like I would lose connection with the drone when we were flying in the middle of the wilderness somewhere, or just something like that, and then I would lose it in the middle of the mountains in British Columbia. And then that kind of it was just too expensive to replace every time, or in case that ever happened. So we've just gone to the Mavic Minis, and they're actually pretty awesome. They're really, durable. It's survived quite a few crashes, which normally happen when I'm filming my brothers on their bikes, because like I'm not really focused on my surroundings. I'm just focusing on them, and they're driving all fast, and then all of a sudden your drone's on the side of a hill or in a tree.
I love that you're like,
it's
not really my flying, but in reality, it really is my flying. It's okay. We've all done it. So Phil's saying he's looking into the Mini. So Phil, there you go. It's at least a good pointer with that. Do you have any pointers for anyone who might be wanting to improve their photography skills or even their videos?
For me, like from my perspective, the thing that has helped me evolve the most has been just practicing, just continuing to practice and try and find as many resources for learning as possible, because there are so many resources for learning new skills online. Even now, like just on YouTube, you can become a pro at almost anything if you practice it. So yeah, for me, the game changer, I think, was really getting to talk to and kind of seeking out those people and talking to those people that have that expertise and that experience, and just learning from them. If you know anybody that does it for a living or that is really skilled at it, even reaching out to them online maybe. And I don't know, I have just learned so much from people like Clay and other YouTubers and other content creators and filmers that have really, really helped me step up my game. But then also, I don't know, just because it's interesting, because for each person from a creative perspective, everyone's different, and there's no right or wrong way to do something. Technically, it's just about how you want to tell your story. And there are people with really successful online careers that film solely on their iPhone, but they're just really skilled storytellers, and they they involve their viewers, and people feel really connected to them, and they really do well in that area. But then there are some people that are really focused on just doing really high quality cinematography and really high quality videos, which there's another group for that, which I love as well. So it's kind of just finding the area that you're interested in and just practicing and learning as much as you can.
No, great. So my husband's asking which Phil is seconding this. What video editing software do you use?
So I started out on Adobe Premiere Pro because, that's what I saw was kind of the cool software to use. But I do love Premiere Pro, but then we learned how to use Final Cut Pro when we were working with X Overland. And I've just moved over to that because I love it for a lot of reasons. It's just really quick and has a lot of similarities to Premiere Pro, but I think, yeah, I use Final Cut Pro because it just works really well. And the workflow is just more seamless and all the gadgets and stuff are less confusing. I feel like Premiere Pro can get a little overwhelming with how much there is on there.
Right.
But
so with your photos, are you using primarily Lightroom or just Photoshop?
Lightroom.
Lightroom?
But yeah.
I might need you to teach me some stuff with Lightroom. I was taught how to use Photoshop, and everyone's like, Lightroom's so much easier. I don't know what it is. It's just not working for me. So I might have to pick your brain on that one.
Yeah.
My husband's saying that he heard Final Cut was the way to go for video editing.
Yeah.
So
it's been great.
It's been great. So how has teaming up with Clay and X Overland improved or changed how you film and shoot and edit your photos?
I think it's just Clay. He has such an incredible mind for storytelling, and he has so much experience from over the years, and he's learned from different things and learned from other people and learned from different mistakes and stuff, that he has kind of nailed it down to this incredible formula of filmmaking that he uses in X Overland that you'll notice if you watch their different series. It's just, and every series gets better. I think it's incredible to see that evolution. And so getting to experience that, because before we started editing for our internship, he kind of did a little film school with us so that we could learn how his kind of workflow and other filmmakers' workflow of storytelling and how that works in cinematography. And we read the book In the Blink of an Eye by Walter Murch. And that is a really, I think I would highly recommend that book for anyone wanting to get into filmmaking and storytelling. And then, yeah, we also learned, like, it's very Warren Miller influenced, and just, yes. But with Clay and Rochelle, the storytelling aspect of it is kind of one of the biggest parts that I have been able to expand on. Because before I would kind of just film what I saw, but they have such an amazing way of capturing a story and making a story out of anything, which I maybe couldn't see in the same way that they see it now,
right.
which I've learned now, which is amazing. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. I will say when Clay's intro to the Baja series of I don't want to go to Baja because I don't want my head chopped off, both my kids continue to quote that constantly. So he definitely teaches you something where it sticks with you no matter where you go. But yes, my kids say that they don't want to go to Baja because they don't want their heads chopped off. So thanks, Clay, for that one. So Victor's asking you, how was it hanging out with X Overland, with the team, with Clay, Rochelle, their kids?
Oh, it was just absolutely amazing. They were such easy people to to be around, and just, I was always so excited every day to go into the office and get to get to work with them more and get to learn with them. And I don't know, they just instantly became more like family. And it's just, yeah, it was just so awesome because I don't know, anything that you said you were interested in. I was interested in wanting to, like, I mentioned that I wanted to be able to get better with handguns in my shooting. And Clay is really good with that. And so he was like, okay, here, I'll just lay out everything and then I'll teach you how to do it. And everything else, like even and driving with Rochelle, she just, so many of those pointers and stuff like that, they just stick with you. And I've learned so much from them. It's crazy. And they're just such amazing, like, salt of the earth, good people that I would literally be sitting at my desk sometimes while we were editing, and I would almost get emotional just thinking of, like, I'm like, how are these people even real? Like, they're so amazing. So, yeah.
say like I said, I've met them once. I've interacted with Rochelle one other time on the show. I do see what you're saying about this, just all around amazing people, super supportive, doesn't matter. Rochelle mentioned that she drives primarily with both feet, like everywhere she goes. She uses her left foot for braking. I've been trying to practice mine. My kids are like, please don't do it anymore. So, but she's so encouraging. You're just like, if she's got it, you know, why can't I do it? And it's just one of those, you want to learn from what she's taught and willing to teach you. Skip's asking, most exotic food on your journey that you would have thought you would not have liked, but ended up liking.
Ooh, we had some pretty interesting food in Bali. I don't even remember what it was called because it was that exotic. But stuff like that, I love. Like, I wasn't always very adventurous with trying new foods. I kind of like to play it safe with that. But whenever we're in the moment in a new place where they have like a traditional cuisine or type of food or a meal, that you just want to try it when you're there. And so I love trying meals, especially in the places that they're kind of originally from. But I think, like, for me, I'm not that big of a seafood person or a fish person in general, but in Baja, we got some, you know, I've had some fresh fish that's like caught, you know, just off the shore there, and then they prepare it in like a delicious traditional fish taco, and that's really good. That I thought I wouldn't like it.
Right. I wouldn't like it. I'm not a fish person. So my husband's being a smart butt and saying that it's scary when I drive with both feet. You know what? You're just going to have to get used to it. I'm going to keep doing it. So David wants to know, is your brother Dan as shy as he seems on the Adventure Guys video? So he mentioned on here, camera shy.
No. I think they're just, my brothers and I, we're just trying to get better. And that was one of the other things that we were learning a lot at X Overland, is just getting, you know, more confident in front of the camera. And that's the only thing, is like, some people might think we're really quiet and shy because we're not on camera as often as we could be, but it's just because we just need to break out of that kind of that mindset that's holding us back, of just get in front of the camera and not worry about what anyone's going to think or say or whatever, and just be there, because he has an amazing personality. And I think they caught it a lot on the Alaska series with X Overland. They definitely got to see that of Dan especially. And but I do hope that, especially with their channel too, they kind of capture more of those raw behind the scenes moments, because they're really awesome. Like, I love seeing those moments that they kind of get caught off guard when they don't think the camera's rolling or something, because yeah, I think it would be awesome if they start doing that more, which they will be, because when we got back to Exploration Outfitters here, we had shipped their bikes here from California. And they hadn't been with their bikes for a little while, but we're going to be heading back out west, we plan to do with the bikes now. And they're going to be restarting, you know, filming for their channel again. And they're really eager and excited to start doing that again, because they have a lot of big plans for that.
That's awesome. So you definitely got a lot of takeaways from working with Clay and Rochelle. That's amazing. Yeah. And I'm excited to see how you're going to keep using them on your own stuff. It's phenomenal. Now I just need to see if they'll teach me some stuff. What's one of the favorite places, your favorite location that you've been to explore?
Ooh. To explore, I think British Columbia is amazing, because it's just so diverse landscape-wise. You can just go forever. And also how remote some of the places are. You don't see people for weeks sometimes, which I love. And like, the campgrounds are just, or I mean, the places you find to camp are just out of this world. You don't even know, like, sometimes I don't process that they're real until later I'm watching the video and I'm like, what? Like, you can just park your vehicle there. And so yeah, British Columbia is my favorite place, I think, to explore. But then my favorite place that we've been, I think, so far has been New Zealand. It's very similar in a lot of ways to British Columbia, but I think, like, that was just such a big adventure, and it's such an amazing place that if I could, I would go back there in a heartbeat. It's just such an incredible place.
That's awesome. Definitely have to add it to my list. Levi's asking, do you plan on having any plans to join the Rebel Rally?
I mean, I would love to. One day, that would be amazing. I would probably be a better navigator than a driver. But that, I mean, anyway, to be involved somehow in a rally like that would be super fun. So yeah, one day maybe.
One day, just tell Rochelle that you'll help navigate one time and she can drive.
She might get lost with me, the navigator.
I'm sure it wouldn't be the first time that they've ended up lost somewhere on that rally. Brent saying that British Columbia is absolutely amazing. Is there still a bucket list location that you're wanting to go to?
Oh, so many. It would be really cool to go to Saudi Arabia one day. So many. We hope to go to Africa one day to overland. Like the dream is to kind of drive from Cape Town to Kenya, going through as many of the countries in between as possible. And I think for as long as I can remember, Africa has kind of been just the dream place to go. And yeah, there's a lot of things I would want to see and do there, but yeah, Africa probably is one of the top.
I follow somebody on Facebook that he's in Tanzania and he does the tours, the guided tours, and the photos that he posts from their overlanding adventures are absolutely amazing. And he keeps saying, "Come on out!" So it's definitely on my list too. So you keep mentioning the original Jeep. You guys are currently, you guys have two now. So tell us some more about those. Like, I know virtually nothing about Jeeps because I am a Toyota person. So tell us something about yours.
Yeah, so the original Jeep is we've kind of always just had Jeeps. We just liked having them as our everyday drivers. I remember we had a Jeep Liberty when I was like 4, and then we've kind of just had different ones throughout the years. But then we purchased the Jeep Wrangler. It's a 2012 JKU limited edition. It's like an Arctic special edition Jeep that we got in 2012. My mom got it for her everyday driving vehicle. And then eventually it became our overlanding vehicle as we got into it. But then in 2019, we got in 2020, we got a 2019 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. And we just got that and then outfitted it here so that we can have, our second vehicle, because we obviously couldn't fit everybody in the one Jeep anymore.
Right.
And yeah.
So right now you're currently at Exploration Outfitters here in Oklahoma. What are you guys having done right now?
So we just got back from Amarillo, Texas, where we got the JXL extensions on. And so now we have those on the back of the Jeeps and with the pop-ups. So then here we're just getting some stuff done. We're getting our KC lights remounted because we no longer have the front runner roof rack on anymore. So we're getting them mounted onto the new JXL mount. And then we're getting a new winch line, like new winch lines put in. I'm trying to remember just kind of different maintenance stuff. I think we're doing something with regearing and stuff like that. Just we're documenting the whole thing, so that'll all be on our channel as well. We're kind of documenting it day by day what we're doing, but yeah, getting it ready to hit the road again.
So with the new platform, how does that change your sleeping arrangements? Does it give you more room?
Oh yeah. I think I don't remember exactly how much more room it gives us, but definitely a lot more than we had before. And then it also allows us to be able to have that indoor space. So now we can utilize that space to actually be able to work and move around in the back of the Jeeps. And that's going to be a huge game changer, because before with the rooftop tents, you have to, get out of the tent into the elements and then, just sit in the back of the Jeep to do work or do whatever. But now we have that whole space in the back that we're going to be putting in, different storage systems, our batteries, having a place to charge all our cameras and store all our cameras. And then we would be able to make coffee and do stuff like that in the back of the Jeep, which is going to be awesome.
Yes, definitely. It's nice not having to get out in the rain. This past weekend we camped down in Broken Bow, so southern Oklahoma, and here in Tulsa it had iced, a few days prior. So we got hit with rain, and everyone's crowded underneath the awnings, and it'd be nice to not have to get out. So Bill's asking, most scared you were on an adventure.
Ooh. I mean, like with the Colorado experience and the time in BC, there are moments where you're kind of a little nervous and you don't know how it's going to turn out, but you just know in the back of my head and in the back of everyone in my family, we're just thinking, we just have to kind of keep going one step forward, just keep moving and stay calm as well. Because if, panicking is kind of what leads it down a worse path. So just kind of, I don't know. I'm trying to think. There hasn't really been a moment where I've really been super scared, which I'm glad to say. But like in Baja, for instance, with X Overland, there was a pretty intense moment where we were stopped by military police in the middle of the desert. And I can't say I was necessarily scared because I don't know, you feel pretty safe when you're with that group and with those really experienced overlanders and stuff, but you are kind of nervous because we were outnumbered by these very heavily armed guys in this big military vehicle with, the big gun on the top pointing straight at you. And so but in the moment, for some reason, I'm kind of able to shut that off a bit and just focus on what I need to do to get through that situation calmly and not let anything escalate out of, kind of mitigate any sort of further threats or anything like that. So yeah, I'm glad that nothing has been so scary that I, haven't been able to kind of push through it. But yeah, there have been a lot of moments where I have had to push through that kind of internal fear of something bad happening, but that's all part of the adventure, I guess.
So everyone's going to want to know more details about the Baja military situation, right?
You're gonna have to go check out the X Overland series.
They're gonna be like, wait a minute.
No, yeah, that so part of the X Overland. Oh, is it back now?
No, you're back now.
Okay. So part of our experience with X Overland and Baja was that my brothers and I were kind of put more into leadership roles and given a lot more responsibilities, which was really interesting. And right at the moment, we were in the middle of the desert on this trail. We were about to try to drive into camp or find a place to camp somewhere down the trail. They switched like leadership roles. So they put my brothers and I in the lead truck of the convoy and put us in charge of navigation and where we would find the camp and everything like that. And it, like almost right after that, on the radio, there's a military truck coming up behind us, hats off, roll down your windows. And we're just like, oh, okay. We had the GoPros rolling the whole time, so we caught the whole thing.
That's awesome.
But it was kind of stressful at first because you're just, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you did something wrong or what. But it turned out to kind of be a blessing in disguise because they ended up, once they found out we weren't a threat of any kind or bad guys or anything, they were telling us in their broken English that the road we were on was actually something like there's bad traffic on that road, like they're either drug traffickers or something like that. So like we shouldn't basically be anywhere on that road. And and the reason why they were there is also because there's like a military base somewhere nearby that we weren't aware of. So then we actually ended up making the call to turn around and then go somewhere back where we were and find a place off the trail to camp.
And say, I remember all of this from the series. Definitely intense. It was quite entertaining when they did switch the roles. The looks on your guys' faces were like, oh crap. So it's awesome. You guys did a great job, even though they did set you up for the water right off the bat.
Sorry, I don't know if you can still hear me. Oh wait,
I can hear you.
There, now it's back.
So when they set you guys up the first time with the water, when you guys first changed roles, that was pretty great. So David said, your your dad Peter mentioned on Epic that as you were growing up and seeking your career lifestyle, what did you see your future? Where did you see your future taking you?
Oh, so I had always wanted to do something in storytelling or filmmaking, and I never would have imagined getting to do it in this fashion, like getting to film and document our life on the road and then upload it to YouTube. And so this is really incredible getting to do it this way. And yeah, I definitely want to continue to do this because it's just such an amazing way to be able to do what I love, which is filmmaking and storytelling and editing. But I do eventually see kind of potentially going more into documentary style films and potentially presenting. I love the idea of kind of getting more into directing different styles of films. So we'll see.
So Crystal's making the machete for fun. Great. That was perfect. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been an absolute blast. I hope you've enjoyed everyone's comments and questions.
Yeah.
For those who are not following you currently, where can everyone follow you, your brothers, and your family on your adventures?
Yeah, so my family is on Instagram and YouTube at the Epic Family Road Trip. And then you can find both my brothers at the Adventure Guys on YouTube and Instagram. And then my personal Instagram is Caroline S. Van Stralen.
Perfect. Well, thank you again. I hope to have you back on the show, hopefully sometime soon.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you for joining tonight. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.